what do you want? What do you want, Mr. Piglet? Come on then, up you come. So, we have had some pretty incredible weather here in southern Spain. I feel like I start every single video at the moment with, well, it's been awful here. To be honest, I feel like the start of 2026 has been pretty, well, not a lot of words for it, isn't there? Ooh, bless me, Biscuit. I'm a chronically online girly, and when I say that, I mean that a lot of my time is spent online, and I have become frightfully bored of the infinite scroll. Not only bored, I find that it is overwhelming my mental health at the moment. So I think it's important to take a step back and just actually do something that you enjoy, that brings you human enjoyment. Oh, Biscuit. You don't like the neighbours doing all that? I think the neighbours are hoovering their car. It's Wildlife Day. I did have a little bit of a different video planned for my wildlife, but it's grey, there's not a lot of tones out today, which is kind of a bit of a sin when you want to photograph birds in particular. And I have found that since I've hit my mid-30s, I would like to see more photos of birds. I would also like to take more photos of birds. Are you judging me, Biscuit? Look at this child. Hi, little piglet. Hi, little piglet. Oh. Oh, Biscuit, you're going to go in the bin. This little chaos creature. It is rather unfortunate that they have decided to clean their car right now, but we can't control other people, can we? No. Let people live their lives. Don't you do a little sprinkles down there. We moved to this house just over a year ago, and it is a rental. I am still a renting girly in my mid-30s. I feel like that's going to be the same for a little while. But here we have spectacular greenery around us. We've got a little river just down here. We have this massive tree right in front of us. And another one just behind that you can see over there. And the mountains, which truly bring me a little bit of joy every single day that I sit outside. Even on days like this, where it's not sunny, but she has a very rural, almost unkept beauty. Was that a bee? Today I am on the Canon R8 with the 100 to 400 RF lens. Kind of a slow lens for such a grey day. I'm just going to make it work. I just need to experience some wildlife and some outdoors in my own place. I do find that trying to take beautiful photos of birds feels a bit like a ghost hunt, because it's lots of sitting around and waiting for something to happen, and it makes you go oh, when it does, because it's great. Currently we have a little wiener dog running around the garden, and birds don't really like dogs very much, so I have a feeling that he is probably putting them off. What are you sniffing? Will you go over there and put on a... Yes? Will you put your little bumblebee outfit on and go over there and I can take photos of you? Would you like that? Okay, do you know what? Fine. Can you tell me what birds we might see today? So over in this part of my garden, I have this little pedestal which is part of the fence, and occasionally birds come and sit on there. I've noticed multiple times a day this happen. I couldn't tell you why, but they do. So I've positioned my chair right here so I can get a very good shot. We also have a woodpecker that lives in this tree behind me. Unfortunately, I have not heard him for a few days, and that does make me a little bit nervous. I hope he's okay, Mr. Woodpecker. So I thought today's video would be a little bit of kind of a catch-up, seeing if we see any birds. We might not see anything. How fun is that? A lot of people ask me why I got into photography. One of the reasons is it forces me to stop and look at things in ways that I wouldn't usually see anything. Street photography is a great example of this, because you can walk through a city centre and be like, oh, that looks nice, I love that building over there, let's go for a coffee. As soon as you have a camera in your hand, it feels a lot more like stopping. What is that person doing by the bench? What is that light cascading down the side of that building? Will I be mugged? It's a question I often ask myself when I'm carrying around a ridiculous camera. I managed to do some things in 2025 that really ticked the list for me of like lifetime achievements. Ethically visiting Mount Everest was one of those. And in a strange way, it's kind of knocked my documentary photography skill in a way, because I kind of feel a bit like I've just done this incredible thing now. What's next? And I feel like in order to really make something of yourself as an artist, there needs to be this lull in creativity so that when the wave of creativity happens, you're almost like ready to embrace it. I haven't hit that bit yet, so it does make me feel strange. I can hear a bird nearby going beep, 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 beep. I don't know what any of these birds are called, unless of course they're like something quite obvious, like a robin or a bluetooth or an owl. There were some buzzards that were flying around over here the other day, and I immediately thought, oh my goodness, they're going to snatch Biscuit from the garden. There was a blackbird that also flew in the garden that you didn't like, did you? You immediately told him off. You were like, get out! The mountains do look particularly spectacular today, though. Oh good, the Canon R8 battery has died. I do not have a spare for her, so we're going to switch cameras. This is the Lumix G9 II with a 100 to 300 lens on it. In full frame equivalency, in terms of framing, that is 200 to 600. As I was saying, these little trees on the tree line of the outline of this mountain give me so much joy. Like, look at that little one there. Must have arrived as a seed perhaps 25 or 50 years ago from a bird or an animal, or even the wind, and it's just been there, defying all the odds. I do love this lens, but it does give off a very annoying amount of chromatic aberration. I was down at the beach a few weeks ago taking pictures of beach birds, and there were these great cormorants which looked beautiful. But it did need a little bit too much editing in order to make the contrast between the bird and the background not show too much chromatic aberration. There is something quite beautiful about the Micro Four Thirds system. I just wish it got more love. But when full frame cameras can be the same size, I can see why the companies aren't designing that. Oh! Oh! There's a bird! Oh, she's gone! And that is why it feels very much like ghost hunting. Oh, my trousers no longer fit. That's good. Isn't it, Biscuit? Do you want to be my wildlife birdie? That dead plant behind you really sets the image. Of course, sometimes there is in fact the very real possibility that you will have in your mind to take some gorgeous photos of birds and they're just not out. If that happens, at least I have some previous examples that you guys may not have seen just yet. About a year ago, I realised that just over that hilltop, goats roam, and one day I was in the garden and I heard this bleating like "meow" kind of noise. Maybe it was a sheep rather than a goat. And I was looking around like, how is there a goat nearby? Where is this coming from? What's happening now? I've never lived in the countryside before, and I've certainly never lived rurally. Our nearest city is an hour away from us here by car. And I looked over there, in fact, I will show you, and right next to this tree, in this little gap here, was a sheep or a goat watching me and bleating, going bah. It was genuinely alarming. You being a little pig? Are you on the hunt? Telling the neighbours off? Yeah? Is that you? Far too close for a photo. Far too... Do you want to come up? Come on then. Oh. Let me move my legs. There you go. Is that better? Tell me if you see a bird. Oh, we've got a speckling of sunshine. Will this bring a bird? There does appear to be some butterflies out, so maybe I should sit near one of our flowers. About a year before I moved to Spain, I actually went on a wildlife hunt with Rolly, and I became very acutely aware, Mr. Biscuits, that wildlife is becoming harder and harder to document. The smaller wildlife, anyhow, because it's just not there. I can hear a frog. I have yet to see a bird. I think if that isn't just one of the most poignant things to remember, sometimes things don't work out the way you think they're going to. I spent a lot of my 20s feeling so inadequate and really far away from what I actually wanted from life. And at one point, I actually felt quite hopeless about my future. So far in my 30s, I've been enjoying what I loved about myself and the world from when I was a teenager, and almost making a level of peace with what I can and can't change about the world. I'm very lucky to still be here and able to follow a much more quieter and stable life, even if that does mean spending an entire Sunday hoping to see a bird.